Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks for March 7th, 2020. How's it going, Andrea?
Yes. Well, how about yourself?
Good. Very good. Oh, you
Been a
blacked
good
out.
March for you so far?
Yeah. Yeah, first week down, I suppose, huh?
Yep,
Um, yeah, no, it's been good. It's getting warmer, so that's good.
that's right. It was beautiful outside.
Yes.
I was
Um,
actually sweaty a little bit on my run outside today, which is
mm,
the first time that's happened this year.
how
So
far did you
I'm cool
make
with
it?
it. Oh, just 3 miles.
Okay. Oh, just 3 miles. I,
Yeah,
I,
no big thing.
yeah,
I'm
no,
a
that's good.
serious runner.
I have a friend that well, Nicole, she's been running, she runs in her marathons and stuff. And
Hmm.
so with the Apple Watch, I see her run sometimes when she wears it. She's not wearing it now because the model she has, the
Oh,
battery dies
sure.
before she gets like halfway or something. And but so I get her notifications. Oh yeah, I ran like 11 mile, burnt 2,600 calories or something like that. So
And is that inspiring for you, or is that just like, oh God, keep
well,
you
it's
on the
just
couch for
like
another
I
couple
don't know.
hours?
Don't buddy up with her in a zombie apocalypse. I guess would be the thing
She'll outrun you.
because she'll
Clearly.
outrun me. I
Yeah,
mean,
she's got the
I have
stamina.
the short distance, but after 5 minutes, she'll be coming, and I'll be around. So, yep, yeah. I don't know. Is Chris get a? Is he get pretty long distances yet? Is he running
No,
far?
no, I'd say he's a solid 5 mile kinda, you know,
Okay,
kinda runner.
sure.
Um, we've both had, like, our goals for years to be, like, sign up for a marathon, sign up for a half marathon, or
Hmm.
even do, like, a 10K, and we just, like, quite never get around to it, so
Yeah, you should do it. Talk to him.
we'll see. We'll see if
Talk to
this is the
Nicole about
summer.
doing it. Like
Yeah.
um, I think anyone can do the short ones. Do what are they, 3K, 5K or something like that. Anyone, can
Yeah,
do that.
5K is, like, only a little over 3 miles, so that's not bad. I've done a couple 5Ks, but yeah,
Yep.
anything longer and it's getting a little dicey for me.
Yep. Well, how was your week?
Excellent, excellent. It was a busy week. I went to go see 12th Night at the Guthrie Theater on Wednesday,
Hmm,
and that was an excellent show.
okay.
Any Minnesotans out there, go see it for sure. It is so funny. Um,
12th
it's
night.
always it's always been one of my favorite comedies from Shakespeare. Not my
Hmm.
total favorite, but close. It's top 5 for sure. Um, and yeah, it was an excellent production. I thought that the cast did really well. Um, there's actually a woman who is playing one of the male characters traditionally,
Hmm.
and she crushes it. She is the
Cool.
funniest part of that show, hands down.
Is she playing
So,
a male character, or is she like they
yes.
convert the character to a woman?
No, no, she's
Okay.
just a woman who's, like, playing it as if she's a man,
Okay.
and, she is amazing. She actually reminds me a lot of, our friend Maggie.
Okay.
Like, yeah, yeah, if you can picture Maggie up there, like, in kind of like a 20s pinstripe suit, playing a dude, like a smooth talking dude,
Okay.
that's that character, and she runs away with the entire show. She's so funny.
So this is a
So,
modernized take.
yes, yes, it is. Said I would say, oh boy, if I had to hazard a guess, probably like in the 90s.
Okay.
But the costumes are a little vague, so it could
Hmm.
be pretty much any time
Is
in the
do you know
modern
how long it's running?
century. I'm sorry?
Do you know how long it's running? How long it's sticking around at the
At least
Guthrie?
through March, maybe through part of April as well. I can't
Okay.
remember when it's
Cool.
over, but yeah, go catch it before it's out because it's very funny.
I love going to a good play. It's just, sometimes they're not good. But I've had
Yeah.
pretty good luck, really, in being picky, I guess, and being happy with
Mhm.
what I see. So, like I say, we
Yeah, it
went to
was
Phantom of the Opera that was in town, and that was awesome. So,
yeah, it's I mean, you kind of roll the dice on some stuff. I've seen my share also of not great productions. But it was funny because we my husband Chris and his dad and his sister got this like 3 plays for $60 ticket deal,
Oh,
and
okay.
Chris's sister was not into 12th Night. She was like, "I've seen it before, like, whatever, I'm
Mm,
not really into it," but I was like, "No, I have to go see it, it's Shakespeare." And she came
mhm.
out of there and she loved it actually the best.
Oh,
She just thought it
nice.
was, like, so hilarious. So, ended up being a good choice.
Awesome.
So,
Well, very cool.
yeah. How
Good
about you?
recommendation. I'm gonna go see it.
Did you end up going to make your, big car purchase today?
Um, we did go and,
And
yep, yep, we got it.
got a brand new
Mhm.
car?
Yep. Well, brand new to us. So, yep. So
You
yeah,
excited
should
about it?
be it should be good. Yep. It's exciting.
Good.
I'm excited for you to see it. It's a cool color. Most
Alright.
importantly, it's a cool color.
Yep.
So, but yeah, and yeah, it's been good trying to enjoy the weather a little bit when
Mhm.
it's not too windy. And
Yeah.
yeah, so otherwise, it's been we've gotten in a number of shows this week
Yeah.
as well. So um,
Yeah.
it's
I've been doing some binging.
okay.
So,
Yeah, nice. Well, we should get started. Then we got a lot to cover again. So
yeah,
the
when do we
news,
not?
yeah, the news keeps stacking up. So first thing I have in the docket here is the Devs show on FX, which is now on Hulu. I
Right?
didn't get to watch
Did
that yet, but it's by
okay.
the guy that does Ex Machina, the movie, and I love that movie,
Mm.
so I want to give it a shot,
Yeah,
but haven't got to
absolutely.
it. And other sci-fi stuff is Star Wars. Got a chunk of Star Wars stuff here. We said we can,
Obligatory mention.
yeah, we can breeze through it. Let's see. So basically, the gist is new the novelization of the Rise of Skywalker is coming out, and
Mhm,
people are getting to hear some of it. I don't know if it
mhm.
leaked at whatever convention or something like that. And if there's people that like it, I don't know. I haven't heard them, but there's people that are upset about it. It's,
About the movie or the novelization, or both?
well, about both, I guess. So I
Okay.
to avoid getting into this too far, I guess I'll keep it spoiler free. That's all right.
Well, you haven't even seen the movie yet, so
Well, I know, but
how do you feel about all of this coming out?
I don't care. I spoil it for myself right away, which I never do. So,
Okay.
but it just that they the movie the last 3 movies really did such a poor job of explaining what um what's going on in the world and with characters and like backstory for 'em and stuff. And I get the expanded stuff can fill in that, but it
Yep.
sounds like some of the things they're announcing here now that are coming up in the novelization, we maybe should have known of in the movie. So for me, that
Yes.
seems the weird
Yes.
part. Like, why wasn't this part of the film? I don't,
Mhm.
it seems like a way to just sneak in extra stuff that you didn't have time because you put together such sloppy movies. Now let's fill
Right.
it in the book.
Well, yeah, I think unfortunately this is another major side effect of having JJ Abrams, then having Ryan Johnson, and then having JJ Abrams. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the last movie JJ Abrams spent so much time undoing what Ryan Johnson had done that they really couldn't get to this sort of essential stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're now having to sacrifice maybe major backstories or major plots or um, even small details that can reveal a lot about characters or the storyline
Yep.
in favor of like undoing things.
Yep.
So unfortunately I feel like we're suffering once again the secondhand effects of that. um
Yep.
and it's too bad because it's tough to feel like you're getting the full narrative and then all of a sudden like all these little things are coming out that you're like, "Oh, that would have made so much sense,"
Hmm.
or "Oh, this could have illuminated so much of the movie for me had I only known."
Yep.
So,
Well, one of the one of the spoilers, which I won't say, one of the adjustments has a lot of people mad because it's one of the things they actually liked about this last movie, and they're retconning or changing the meaning of that. Um, the stuff with
Ooh.
Ray and Kylo.
Okay, alright. I was like,
So
"Wait a
yeah,
minute. Which one are you
so they're
talking about?"
yeah they're changing the meaning the some of that.
Yes.
So I understand people were actually excited about. Now it's not that. So it's
Yep.
like take the little bit of something that we enjoyed and that was well done, they thought, and
Right.
scrap that.
Mash
And
it, yeah. Take it away.
more to your point with the movies being separate. We'll talk about Ryan Johnson later, but he was
Right.
just out now on the press trailer, whatever, and they were asking him about. I don't know if I put this in a rundown or not, but I remember now. Is
Okay.
they uh, they were asking him about, is there different to be making a movie like Knives Out versus a movie, that's completely original, you write it from
Mhm.
scratch, versus writing something that is for, has existing content, a lot of existing lore and whatever. And
Right.
he was really pretty flippant in the no, it's not different, and that he really doesn't
Oh.
care about world building. That's not something
Oh,
that would interest him. And so
okay.
it's all about like the audience enjoyment from moment to moment. Well, that's a
Interesting.
person that shouldn't have been hired to do a movie that is part of a larger
Yeah.
whole that you need to play
Yeah.
ball with and respect and care about the universe and what, because that's the thing. In his movie, they didn't add anything. They didn't add
Mhm.
lore or backstory or anything like that. It was so you have a three movies that are supposed to explain something and have a lot of stuff, and they don't have that much time to.
Right.
And so his movie essentially does nothing to
Right.
advance that.
Right.
And
Yeah, I agree, and I think Star Wars is an especially unfortunate choice, for him to be directing that kind of movie because it has such an engaged fan base
mhm,
that is engaged with the entire universe of it.
mhm,
And there's so much to be engaged with. It's not like this is a small universe and we're starting out. There's so much established that you have to work around. So for somebody, yeah, I had never heard him say that quote before, but it explains, I think, his approach to making
yeah.
The Last Jedi.
And just what makes
Um,
you wonder why how he got the job. He could have
yeah,
been
yeah, what
when they talk to him, if they appreciate his talent, they can have, well, let's wait on another project for you.
right,
They could have
right,
given him a one-off, Star Wars movie. Like, have
right.
at it. Like, don't, leave out largely other known things and do your own thing in this world, you know?
Mhm.
But when
Yeah.
you're talking mainline continuity here,
Right.
um,
Yeah, it's hard to imagine how that interview went,
mhm,
or like did they seek him out or like did he want
yeah.
to make the movie and then they just didn't really like check into how big of a Star Wars fan or, you know, how much
Well,
knowledge he had of Star Wars? Like I just yeah.
Colin Trevorrow, I think was his name. He did the
Mhm.
Jurassic World.
Mhm.
He was in going to be doing at least one of these movies, if not
Okay.
more than one. And so like he has
Sure.
an early script and stuff. I know some of that came out earlier.
Mhm.
So there was a mix up. I don't think Johnson was the first choice. Um,
Still, I feel like he didn't have to be the only.
no, no, they could have like threw enough
So,
money at JJ Abrams to just do it all, or
right.
I mean, he clearly came
Or
back.
or a yeah, or a J.J. Abrams surrogate or something.
Yeah. If I was Abrams and they asked me to do the 3rd one, I would've said, "I'm out. Like, you
Yeah.
deal with that. You deal with that mess. I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
I did my one
Yeah, I
film
mean,
that was
how would you come
regarded."
back from that?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, that's that. Is another Star Wars game leaked,
Yes. Yes, I watched the trailer for
potentially.
that.
So,
Mhm.
um, hopefully that happens. We'll see. It's not
Yeah, it looks pretty
official.
cool.
Yeah. And I did start Clone Wars. I don't know if I said that last week or
Oh.
not. But
No,
I'm
I think you were still getting to that last week, so you
okay.
started it officially?
Yep, a couple episodes in and
Okay.
pretty good so
How is it
far.
so far?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay.
enjoyable enough. We'll see where it goes. They introduced kind of a cool set of characters called the Bad Batch, so they're kind of fun.
So,
So
are they good or bad?
yeah, well, they like to think of themselves as bad, I guess. So
Okay.
no, what's cool, and I don't think it's spoiler, is they're clones, but they're like defective clones. So
Mhm.
they didn't quite come out as intended, or they're whatever. So they don't look exactly the same. They have a little different sound to them.
Okay.
One's taller, one's skinnier and shorter. They're not exact copies like everybody else. So
Sure.
they kind of do missions on their own, and that's why they're the Bad Batch.
I see,
Oops.
okay. So it's
So
bad in the sense of, like, we made a mistake, not,
yep,
like, evil.
yep.
Okay.
So is there any other Star Wars things you want to discuss before we don't mention Star Wars for the rest of the show?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything
Okay.
other than watch that movie so we can talk about it.
Yeah, I see it's in my cheap theater out here. So,
Oh, get there, get there.
yeah, but if I could ask them if I can pay for a ticket to a different movie and then go watch Star
Just
Wars
on
movie.
principle, don't give
Yeah,
your money to Star Wars.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Oh man, this made a difference. All right. So, transition to gaming. No segue there, just gaming. We got a lot of
Sure,
gaming news this week.
we
Um,
do. It's
and I
been a
was
busy
surprised to see
week.
you contribute a number of things here in gaming
That's
related.
right.
So, the
That's right.
PlayStation 2, number one
Yep.
best-selling console of all time, is
Yep.
20 years old this last week.
Happy
So,
birthday.
yeah, I don't know if that makes you feel old. Do
Cheers,
you
PlayStation.
remember? Yeah.
It does make me feel old.
Okay.
Um, I did not own a PlayStation because sadly my parents were very strict when I was growing up and I was not allowed to own any consoles at all. I was not allowed to play video games. So I would have to like sneak over to friends' houses and, get my fix in there. Um, but I do remember, I know, right?
Your fix.
Um, I know. They couldn't stop me. They couldn't hold me back. Um, I do remember though when everybody started getting PS2s, um, partially for the gaming system and partially because of the video capabilities. Like you could play
Yeah.
DVDs and stuff on it.
Yep.
So I do remember that that was pretty hot. Like when it first came out, everybody was so excited. So,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to come around to PlayStation,
mm,
um, because
okay.
so I had a PS1, we got kinda late, in the console, and we ended up doing that with the PS2 as well. Um, but I was kind of bitter about the PS2,
Oh, how
because
come?
one of my favorite consoles was the Sega Dreamcast, and that came out
Okay.
I like 9/9/1999, I think is something
Yep.
like that. And, it, was a great console. It was
Mm-hmm.
small, compact, fast. Um, it had some innovative features, like, it was one of the first to really come with a built-in modem so you could connect it to the internet. It
Mm-hmm.
had, the little memory cards that would slip in the controller, and they had
Right.
screens on them and stuff, like, some of it gimmick, some of it cool, whatever. And it's basically the became the precursor to the Xbox, but,
Mm-hmm.
it flopped due to a whole bunch of reasons,
Yep.
and the PlayStation 2 came in on a holiday season and just cleaned up.
Yep.
And like I say, that DVD player really, really helped. Tons of kids, I'm sure, were like, "It has a DVD player, you can have that," or whatever, and I get the
Yep.
games. And um, so, but other than that, game wise, I think Sony came in kind of cocky off of the PS1, and there
Sure.
weren't a lot of great launch games. Most of them were trash, and anything decent that did come out were ports from the Dreamcast. So games that had already been available for some time on the Dreamcast,
Mm-hmm.
and then they got appreciation on the PS2 instead.
Yeah.
So Dreamcast died, and PS2 became dominant. So
So you're holding a grudge.
yeah, but it is a great, it is a great system, and I kind of like Sony's story in gaming a little bit too. They were going to help Nintendo. They were going to make a disk drive thing for Nintendo, and then
Mhm.
Nintendo backed out last minute,
Right.
and like kind of made Sony pretty mad. So they're fine. We're going to do our own thing, and they clearly succeeded. So
Yeah,
yeah.
still going.
So did your friends have a PS2 and you remember playing any
They
games on
did.
it?
They did have a PS2. The game actually that I can remember playing on the PS2 is Grand Theft Auto.
Okay.
That was,
Yeah,
and
which
Silent Hill actually is the other
oh,
one that I remember playing.
okay.
Yeah. Part of
Yeah.
probably why I love the movie so much, the original, not the second. I love you, Kit Harington, but that was a career mistake. Um,
Yeah.
that whole movie was a career mistake for everybody involved. I'm so sorry. Um, but yeah, Silent Hill and Grand Theft Auto, I think were what I played mostly on
Okay.
the PS2.
Yeah. I forget which was it GTA
I think it was
3 or that was the big
San Andreas came out. 3, yeah, 3 was the big one. San
I mean,
Andreas and then Vice was on there, but I think 3 was the one I played most.
yeah, cuz I think the other two they ended up doing better and
Mhm.
being better more well received, but 3 was the big changeover that got everybody talking. Oh my god, you can curb stomp hookers. Oh my god, like all that stuff. So it's in, you know,
Yeah, the
I have
things
no
you
doubt
wanna
that stuff
do.
helped
Yeah.
sell PlayStations too, like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
edgy.
Yes.
Um, but okay, yeah,
Yeah,
and I agree
who doesn't wanna drive fast and curb stomp hookers?
yeah, right. Our producer,
Definitely the title for this episode right there. Drive
yeah,
fast, curb
there
stomp hookers.
there you go. Uh, our
What about
producer
you?
Alan brought up the Nintendo PlayStation prototype
Oh,
that just
yeah.
was on sale. Someone bought it for three hundred and
Ooh,
sixty thousand dollars. So
that is a pretty penny.
yeah,
Wow.
but I mean, it's been so many years and none of them
Mhm.
surfaced. So that's pretty. That is
Yeah,
rare.
that's amazing.
So yeah, so like I say, I got later, but my favorite game was by far Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, okay.
And
I've heard of
up
that, but
and
not played it.
yeah, up until recently, it was my favorite video game ever. Um,
Okay.
and I played through it a couple times on there. So that was kind of the start of me really starting to like PlayStation, just because I started to take note of their exclusives more.
Sure. Okay.
Beforehand, I kind of missed a lot of the Tomb Raider games. I played a little
Mhm.
bit of Spyro, a little bit
Mhm.
of Crash, some of that Ratchet and
Yeah,
Clank, that kind of thing. Like they had a good lineup, but I didn't play a ton of those. So Shadow of the
sure.
Colossus was impressive to me. So yeah.
Okay.
So
So you
happy
said up
birthday.
until recently, that was your favorite game. What's unseated
Well,
it?
maybe so Unseated has been another PlayStation exclusive and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So,
Okay.
Legend of
Okay.
Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Switch and Horizon Zero Dawn for Alex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he knows you so
he
well.
knows. Yeah, uh, those two I can't decide which I like more.
Okay,
So I can't even say from a technical level because they both have technical uh, pros and cons. So,
sure.
but Shadow of the Colossus is now on PlayStation Plus for this month.
Ooh,
So if you own PlayStation
okay,
Plus, the remake, I think by Blue Point is their name, the full remake of Shadow of the Colossus from the PS2 that's now available on PS4
uh-huh.
in glorious, glorious high definition, is available for free or included with your PlayStation Plus membership. So get
So are
it,
you gonna be
download it.
playing?
I started it the other day. Yeah. So
Nice.
maybe I'll be reminded and it will unseat the other ones,
You can
again.
have a rotating, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's a poignant, effective, like 10-hour game that is one of the earlier games that did such a good job of telling a story without having a bunch of
Yep.
cutscenes or anything like that. It just
Mhm.
it's right on a lot of levels.
Sure.
So yeah.
Well,
But I
cool.
thought that would lead to your article you found because the
Yes,
person in
yes.
that article brings up Shadow of the Colossus. Its best gaming console is Nintendo Switch.
Yes. So apparently, I don't know. I feel like maybe it should be our favorite console together since it's got your favorite game and then my favorite game, Res Evil 4.
hmm
Um, although I've never played, I know it's available on other stuff. I've never played Res Evil 4 on anything other than the GameCube. And
Okay.
that's just like I feel like a nostalgia thing for me because that was
Sure.
the first game I played on the first like console system that I like could sit down and truly like play all the way through. Not just like I said, like sneak over to friends' houses and play for like 10, 20 minutes at a
Yeah.
time or something. So, but yeah, I thought it was interesting that that was their favorite console. Because it doesn't really feel like one. I mean, it is, I know,
Okay.
but it
Okay.
just doesn't feel like the classics, when I think of a console.
Hmm.
The Switch and its
Mm,
structure is not what
because
I
it's
think of.
portable?
Yeah, I think so. Um, yeah, it just doesn't seem like a gaming system to me that the
Huh.
same way. So
Well,
it feels more like, like Game Boys when they were like
yeah.
so big everywhere. It just feels more like that to me.
Okay. Well, you
So
should get over that. Because I mean, it's I think the success of the Switch is that bridge between the two, and that there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that play it one way or the other, and it's
Mhm.
not a lesser experience one way or the other, really.
Sure.
So like for me, most games it's docked, it's in the dock, and I'm playing with a controller
Mhm.
on a big TV. But
Right.
Ashley, most of the time, she's playing handheld, unless she's
Sure.
playing Smash Brothers with me. And I think
Mhm.
that's really its success is that you can bring a full-fledged 3D Legend of Zelda game or whatever anywhere
Right.
with you, and it doesn't feel compromised. So
Right. Yeah,
that's
and
impressive.
and I don't mean to knock that portability because I feel like if I used it more, like I would totally love that. It's hard to feel like a gaming console.
Mhm. Well,
So,
it doesn't. It's been a long time for me. It depends on how you look at it, I guess, because the for me,
mhm,
it's been a long time since Nintendo has decided to compete against the consoles. Like they
right.
do, but in their own way. Like they go their own
Right.
path. They have their own upgrade cycle. They're not competing in specs, and so they're going to miss out on a lot of like big tentpole games.
Mhm.
That's the issue with the Switch. I think is if you want to play this guy in here lists that it brings together his favorite games of all time, other than
Mhm.
Shadow of the Colossus. So he mentions Breath of the Wild,
Right.
Dark Souls, Witcher 3, and Resident Evil 4.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, the issue is only one of those games is best played on the Switch, and that's Breath of the Wild because
Oh,
that's the only place you can
okay.
play it. Dark
Sure.
Souls is an older game, so I'm sure that performs fine. But Witcher 3, that's a gorgeous game, absolutely
Mhm.
gorgeous. And that game, they call it it came out in 2015, and Alan says that Breath of the Wild was on Wii U. Okay, no one cares about that.
Shut up.
No,
It is?
the poor Wii U. Yeah, it was
I
one of
still
those
have
things.
that, okay?
Okay, they did that.
I guess if
The
that's the
same.
only place I have to play it, I'm gonna play it, but
Yeah, they
maybe I'll have to
did.
get over myself and get a Switch to play it.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's a shame because the Wii U. Well, it's a whole nother. I could go off on another tangent. I'll skip it for now, I guess. Um, the Resident Evil 4, okay, that'll play fine on there. That's
Yeah.
an old game. That's fine. But Witcher 3 is a giant, massive, amazing game, and we've played it through on like the Xbox, but then also the Xbox One X, and just
Oh,
that
okay.
mid console jump, it looks stunning on the Xbox One X. like how it
Okay.
upgrade it, the textures and the frame rate. It's gorgeous. So
Sure.
if you play it as a companion, like you play it some on the PC and then you play it some on the Switch when you're on the go,
Mhm.
fine. But or if the Switch is the only console you have, but otherwise you're giving yourself a subpar experience by playing a game that gorgeous
Hmm.
on the Switch.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's the thing. It's got a lot of games, but it's not the best place to play everything. Doom 2016 is
Sure.
on there, and so is Wolfenstein. But I mean, those are also gorgeous games that are kind
Right.
of squandered on Switch. So
Sure.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's a good place. Yeah. You go.
yeah, I felt like I had to include it because it was a bold claim. So I felt like we should talk about our thoughts about that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
So 3 years, yeah, the title. 3 years later, here's why Nintendo Switch is my favorite gaming console, and he does call out how it's his
Yep.
favorite, not the objectively best. Um,
Right.
but I think the reality is now with gaming, there's so many games one can't possibly play them all. Like, so you could pick a
Yes.
system and you could
Absolutely.
skip games like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order or Control. You could, Cyberpunk 2077 will be coming out. You can skip all these giant games if you like, but
Mhm.
you're going to miss out on a lot if you only have the Switch.
Right.
But if you only
Right.
have an Xbox or a PlayStation, then you're going to miss out on Nintendo things. So they've put themselves in this great position to be the sidekick console, to be the also
Right.
console. So like everybody picks a PlayStation or an Xbox or a PC, and then they also have a Nintendo Switch. So
Yeah.
they win.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no matter which main console you'd have, the Switch is a great companion.
yep, yep. Okay. On to like from low res switch to high res, high
To highest
demand.
res.
Yeah, Half-Life Alex. They released a bunch of gameplay preview videos for the new
Mhm.
Half-Life game. After so many years, this
Yep,
new
saw that.
Half-Life game, but is only in VR and only in Steam
Mhm.
VR. So that means having
Tell me the
a
difference.
okay. So Steam VR you is works with any of the headsets that will work with Steam games. So you need a
Okay.
PC, a relatively
Mhm.
powerful PC. I would say if you were lucky, I don't know. I haven't looked at what the cheap, you could get one for $600, maybe that would play it. I really haven't looked at what, the general thought is okay, spend $800 or so on a PC tower before any other stuff. And now you've got a PC that can handle VR well.
Sure.
Um, and then you buy a headset, and there's a lot of them. There's a couple different Oculus ones. There's a Valve Index. There's the Windows mixed reality headsets, and they vary in price a lot, but those will all play
Okay.
these games. Um, and So those range from, if you're lucky, get a low end one for $200, and then you get a high end one like the Index for $1,000, and then your
Ooh,
experience will vary.
damn.
So it's, what do you
That's
think?
a
Do you think,
lot.
yeah, do you think VR will take off because it's demanding? You need space to play it. You need a reasonable amount of
Yeah.
space. And then, if you want a pretty good experience, you're going to be
Mhm.
spending just say $1,500 for sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I think that's a safe ballpark estimate. I would say no, to be quite honest. I don't think that's take off kind of money.
hmm
I think I don't think that it's gonna be not bought. I don't think it's gonna completely bomb, but I think that's a little bit too much for the average gamer. Um, or if somebody really, really wants it, I think that it'll take a couple years maybe to save up for that kind of thing, so they won't see those returns right away.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
just don't think that that's feasible for everybody to just go out and have it be, like, wildly popular
hmm
and, you know, have that be like, like gaming consoles can be like the Christmas gift of the year or whatever.
Yep.
I just don't think that that will achieve the same effect.
And it depends on what company's looking for. A lot of times
Mhm.
people are, like Microsoft gets flack for, oh, their Surface line doesn't they don't sell that many Surface devices
Mhm.
compared to the competition or something. But it's like, well, it's still about $1 billion business for them. So yeah, they're not
Mhm.
MacBook popular, or anything like
Right.
that. But it's a pretty sizable business. So is
Right,
this
yeah.
the market? Like Half Life and Half Life 2 are games that are ubiquitous for a lot of gamers. Like they have played them, there's
Mhm.
renowned.
Yeah.
Um, but it's because you could play it on kind of anything and then it came to anything, and so if they are
Mhm.
looking for that sort of market appeal and success, yeah, I agree. I don't think they can reach that with this,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good effort to start with this kind of game. You know what I mean? Like that it is so popular, but I still don't think I just don't think they're gonna reach what they want to as far as
The
sales or usage.
Right. How much money do they invest? How are they going to get that back
Mhm.
before the technology
Yeah.
changes and everybody's got to buy a new headset? The
Mhm.
This holiday season, I guess the um Oculus um Quest did really well. Sold way
Mhm.
more than expected because the Oculus Quest you can play completely wireless, free of a PC, and have a pretty good
Right.
experience. And
Mhm.
so that shows where the market's at potentially. That hey, it's a lower barrier to entry. You just need kind of an
Mhm.
open space to put this headset on, and you're in. Now that
Mhm.
headset's compatible with this new game, but if you plug it into a relatively powerful PC, so
Right.
um, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll find the
I
success
feel
they want, but
yeah, I feel like there's just one too many limitations right now.
mhm.
Um, Maybe who's to say what could be a couple years from now, but yeah.
I mean, we have a
Yeah. It's a good
PlayStation
thought, but
VR,
it's yeah. Okay.
and that's been great. I mean, it's a little like lower fidelity than the high end stuff, and they don't have the optimized controllers as well. But it's one of
Mhm.
those things where okay, millions of people already have a PlayStation 4. They already have one.
Mhm.
And so it's a Black Friday sale or whatever, 200
Yeah.
bucks. Now you're into VR,
Yep.
and you've got a lot of exclusive games that are only for the PSVR. So um, I think there's other ways in, and I hope that this game is awesome.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it's the right choice for them to do this. I think VR is going to live more in experiences, like go to
Mhm.
location experiences.
Mhm.
Have you done
I
any of
agree.
those?
I have not yet, no.
You and Chris
But
should go do the Assassin's Creed one, because
yes, yes. I remember you guys talking about that. I really do want to
yeah,
do that.
because that's a new setup. You pay for, a little overpriced or
Mhm.
whatever, but for a short period of time, and they can set
Right.
up a course, so it makes it more
Right.
realistic. You can walk around in an environment. It
Mhm.
eliminates the motion sickness element. And
Right.
yeah, it's kind of a heightened experience. They can blow wind at you or do whatever, and
Right.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I feel like yeah, I agree. I feel like it would be more fun to do that kind of thing than to own something subpar potentially. You know what I mean? Like to go
mhm,
somewhere and have that experience with like sort of the best equipment and people running it and not have to worry about, any technological fails
mhm,
um or anything like that. And that would be more fun to me right now.
yep,
A couple years down the road, who's to say? But yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I just think it's a little too soon.
yep. All right. So you posted a couple more things now. It's merging gaming and movies. So we're
Yeah, yeah.
transitioning slowly back into movies, but
Well, I feel like there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of things that are happening with studios or channels or, companies working to make shows or movies out of games.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, I feel like the popularity of Castlevania is kind of a testament to the fact that like this can be successful. Um,
Sure.
I mean, I know that they've done it before, but I don't know. I'm not really sure about like the success of things like Lara Croft
Mm.
contributing to the fact that like this can be, you know, a successful arena. Especially
Mhm.
with the newer Tomb Raider with Alicia Vikander,
Mhm.
that being a bomb, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so two new things. The Last of Us, a game again I have not played, but I've heard amazing things about, being developed at HBO right now, based on the PS3 and PS4 game. So
Mhm.
I'm excited to see it. It looks like a great story, and I feel like it's in that post-apocalyptic vein that's very also popular right now. So
Sure.
has the initial building blocks, I think, to be a hit. So we'll see. And they're getting the original writer who wrote the storyline for the game. Um,
Interesting.
Also, yeah, and collaborating with the writer for Chernobyl, which was
Oh, that's
also a
right.
huge hit.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, so I mean, they've got all the tools for success, I think. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that and see what comes out of that. Definitely something I will be watching.
Okay. Yeah, they have a tough time with them. I mean, Sony announced a while back their initiative for developing
Hmm.
live action content and stuff based on their properties, which I think
Yep.
is a good idea. I mean, Sony's into movies, and stuff. They need things to do, and this is a rich, uh, like they have a rich history under the
Hmm.
Sony, name that they could use, but they seem to. Um, I thought the impression I got was that they were going to do more offshoot things. So
Mm,
stuff that wouldn't retell a game, but stuff that would
hmm.
expand and take place in the world.
Sure.
So if they do that, I'm more excited. If they
Hmm.
don't, I'm less. Like there's no reason. I think some people disagree. Some people think there's games are terrible for telling stories.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people disagree, and there's a unique element of telling stories in games that doesn't need to
Yeah.
be shoehorned into then another type of media.
Sure.
Um, and so I would be happy if they like built out the canon. Last of Us Two
Mhm.
is the game is coming out soon,
Mhm.
and if they had things that took place in other areas of this world and
Mhm.
dealt with other characters that all fit
Yep.
in with the games and built kind of, I would be totally for that.
Yeah.
But if this is like, well, let's take the story of Last of Us and we're going to adapt that to a movie and it's its own
Mhm.
thing, I'm way less excited about that. Way less.
Sure. Sure. I can see that. Yeah, I feel like it would be interesting if they took maybe an episode or episode and a half to sort of seed it in the game and then built out from there.
Mhm. It's not that
I
like
would be
characters can't appear, but it's not
yeah,
the retelling of the story. It's clearly so
right.
be like what you
Right.
do with a Star
You
Wars
don't know
expansion.
everything that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, because these worlds. That's what's great about these games is the worlds they build, and they're vast and fleshed out, and we can see
Mhm.
other stories within them. So,
Yeah.
did you get any impression from the news on this that anything is like that, or is this the no
Feels
details
too
there
early to
yet?
tell. Yeah, too early to tell. Just literally that this is going on. They're very excited about, obviously the writing team that's developing this. Nothing as whatsoever about a casting announcement. So it's, yeah, really early on, but I was just excited about like the fact that they're doing it. So wanted to include that, especially since we were talking, about the 20th birthday of the PS2 and then
Yeah,
this game being on
I
PS3 and 4. So,
I should play it. I missed out. Naughty Dog makes this game,
mhm. Mhm.
and they are one of my favorite developers. They are in
Mhm.
charge of the my second favorite franchise ever
Mm.
in video games, which is the
Which
subject
is?
of our next topic, Uncharted.
Aha, yes.
Um, Uncharted games, more Sony exclusives,
Yep,
spectacular series of games.
yep.
But you have stuff about a movie.
Yeah, yeah. So it was announced this week that Antonio Banderas is joining the cast of the upcoming Uncharted movie. No word yet on who he's supposed to be playing. Um, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
Um,
feel like they've got a great cast list so far. It'll just be interesting to see what everybody's doing in the
yeah,
movie. So I
I
know
should.
Tom Holland is in it. And then Tati Gabrielle, who's one of my favorite characters on Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So she is a fabulous
Tati
actress. So
Gabrielle. Okay.
I'm very excited for her to be in it. But yeah, it's kind of an odd casting, basically, that they're announcing. Nobody has any idea who either um Antonio Banderas or Tati Gabrielle is going to be playing, but exciting talent to be joined to the already cast people.
So the story of this movie has been a long one.
One of delays.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think it started because they um they announced that Mark Wahlberg was
Mhm.
going to be Nathan Drake, and
Yep.
people were not happy, myself
Yep.
included.
Yep. I
Um
agree with that.
so this is interesting. I mean, I'm looking at
Mm.
IMDb's page now, and they list Mark Wahlberg as being Victor Sullivan, who is
Oh,
the kind of older mentor of Nathan
yeah.
Drake, the protagonist, and Tom Holland being Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
So, um, Tom
So how
Holland
do you feel
is a
about Tom Holland in the lead?
You know,
Yeah.
I wanna see what he's gonna look like when he's an adult. I
Yeah.
mean, I know
Mhm.
he's an adult, but he is very young, and
He's a
he's a
young
short
adult.
guy, and I mean, he's there's the obvious choice for Nathan Drake is, Guardians of the Galaxy guy, can think of Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the obvious choice because Nathan Drake is basically Indiana Jones, and it was
Yep.
talk that, they're gonna have Chris Pratt be Indiana Jones someday. I mean, the stuff he can play that character, but is it getting
Mhm.
typecast? And to me, this makes it look like they're starting with young Nathan Drake,
Mhm.
because in Uncharted 4, in particular, they cover a lot of backstory,
Sure.
and you play Nathan Drake as a kid. Um,
Sure.
so I can see that working, and they're setting themselves up for the future then. They're like, "All right, we got tons of time. Mark Wahlberg's way younger than his target character. Tom Holland is way younger than his target character. We got time."
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that's a good choice, I guess.
Sure.
Looking at these other cast people. So I'm seeing your Tati Gabrielle lady.
Mhm.
Um, Sophie Ali. She
Mhm.
has most got to be playing. Um, oh, what's her name? I was just talking about her today. Um,
Sorry, I can't help you with that.
yeah, no.
I've got limited Uncharted knowledge.
She's one of my favorite characters in the game. Well, I'll come back to it, but this
Okay.
who knows what these people are playing because if they're doing that earlier, taking place earlier kind of thing, then a lot of
Mhm.
these other people have not been introduced in the games.
Right.
So
Which I mean might be a boon to the movie,
yeah,
to do something like that. Especially after, having been delayed so long. It's just like, okay, fresh start. Like let's not even try to get into like the heart of the mythos yet. Let's,
yep,
go early days.
yep. No, I bet I'm gonna put money on Antonio Banderas being the villain.
Okay.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah,
So
I kind of felt like that was gonna be a solid possibility for him. But who knows?
yeah, I
I
kind of
think
like I'd kind of like to see that. I don't know.
yeah, I think he's got a lot going on in his career right now, fresh off of Pain and Glory, and his Oscar
Yeah,
nomination. So, like I'm all for it. Like I'm excited about it. I think
I'm glad to see him doing well. Like
yeah, I think
there was a gap.
yeah. I think there was a time where he was sort of distancing himself from some of the more stereotypical roles that he had been in, and doing some of like the dumbed down kind of comedic roles that were, maybe not as heavy an acting burden. And I think he's sort of getting back to
Well,
serious stuff.
childhood favorite of mine is Desperado. I love
Oh my god,
Desperado.
yes. Yes. I
And
love
then I like the
Desperado.
follow-up
It's my
too, Once Upon a
favorite.
Time in Mexico.
I do
So,
too. Although Desperado, I would say I would put before
yes. I
ranking
mean,
wise. Like it's
Antonio
better.
Banderas and Salma Hayek, it's good
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
And, uh, Alan, uh, says Chloe
Is that who
Frazer,
you're
and that
thinking
is
of?
correct. That is correct, Chloe
Okay.
Frazer. So
Okay.
Chloe Frazer and Nadine, are the stars of kind of an offshoot Uncharted game.
Oh, okay.
It's great. It's really good. I think it was underappreciated because it was gonna be DLC to the 4th game, and then it was
Mhm.
kinda got long, and they just made their own game. One of my
Sure.
favorites. It's great. So I would like to see something with them for sure. If
Okay.
not like movie stuff, I'd like to see more games with them. So,
Sure.
okay. Oh, wow.
I know.
I'm looking
Do
for a
we
transition, to this.
do we want
So,
to or just wanna go right for our watch
let
for
me
the
think.
week?
Well,
'Cause
let
we
me
have a
see here.
lot.
So, hmm, there's,
Because you
in
did
one of
promise we wouldn't mention Star Wars anymore.
yeah, no, in one of the games, in one of the Uncharted games, I think there is a like gaseous thing that overtakes people and makes them, I don't know, mad
Okay.
or something, if I'm remembering correctly. And next is coronavirus news, COVID-19. So,
Yeah, well, do you wanna start out with your Bond news?
okay, yeah, No Time to Die, James Bond has been delayed till no.
Mhm.
So I thought I was gonna get something for my birthday, namely a James Bond film, but is moving towards Ashley's birthday as per usual.
Yes.
Someone that doesn't appreciate it at
Yes.
all, it's gonna be around her birthday and not mine. So,
Yeah. I'm
doesn't it
sorry.
ultimately to me it doesn't matter. I'm fine either way. I mean, I think that it will be okay because they'll be working on the next Bond, getting that cast and going and stuff, and it will
Mhm.
make it feel like there's less of a time jump
Mhm.
between, or gap between this one and the next one. So I think that's
Sure.
good. It's too bad that they will be losing all that money. So we've just been talking
Mhm.
about Sony a lot. Sony's going to
Yep.
lose a chunk of change.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I think it's been interesting to see the little different ways that coronavirus has unfortunately affected the movie industry. Like No Time to Die is being pushed to November. I think that Dave Bautista, My Spy, is being pushed to an April time slot, then taking either that one or the next weekends because something else is being shifted to move forward to take No Time to Die slot.
mhm,
So it's like this big kind of jumble of, who's going where and who can be
yep,
slotted in. Um, because they're worried about box office takes because people won't be going to the movies.
yep.
But then also I was reading the other day about Netflix's Red Notice, the new like art thief thriller spy movie
Okay.
with The Rock and
Oh,
Gal Gadot and
oh,
Ryan Reynolds.
oh.
Um,
What is
and
this?
yeah,
I
I
haven't
know,
heard
right?
of
I know. I'm so freaking excited.
it.
I love this cast, and obviously, my love of The Rock. So
Scorpion
I'll be
King,
watching.
Deadpool, and Wonder Woman. Come on.
I know, it's gonna be so good. But Netflix is terrified of delays in production and losing any money on this because obviously they're spending a lot of money to get those stars.
Yeah.
So for all of the different location shoots, they've had each of the stars charter their own private jets to
Mm,
everywhere because they don't want them exposed to any sort of illness or coronavirus that would maybe potentially delay production. So, it's
interesting.
it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's weird. Like a lot of this is affecting the movie industry in unforeseen ways.
Mhm. Well, China's
And
such a big
obviously,
market now.
yeah, I know, I
I
know.
mean,
They're very worried about, markets in China and how movies that don't do well domestically tend to be saved, sometimes by
yep.
overseas box office sales, especially in China. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so that's going to be, I think, a major thing. Um,
Yep. Do
yeah.
you so are studios still like just too old-timey in their thoughts, where the box office is king?
Yes.
Movie sales,
Yes.
they've gone down, streaming is where it's at. Clearly the
Hmm.
future.
Yeah.
Is Bond gonna make less money when it comes out and doesn't
Oh.
get a big box office
Ooh.
in April
Yeah.
versus like a bunch of, I mean, or is it more about image? You know, is it
Yeah.
still like producers and people footing the bill are like, well, look at these box office numbers. Look how low they are. Why would I foot you bill
Mhm.
on this next thing? Why would I give you this? Support you. Um,
Yeah, I feel like this is a weird move. I'm disappointed in Bond moving to November,
okay.
because I truly don't see. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but it's hard to see the box office numbers being affected that greatly to warrant this move and warrant such a big move to November. And I just I don't know. I feel like box office numbers are just becoming less important as an indication of a movie success.
Mhm.
I
But they
I
still
disagree that,
promote
like,
the heck out of that. "Oh,
they
number
do. They
1 this
absolutely do.
weekend, number
Yes.
so many,"
Yeah, I
and,
mean,
like, that's their marketing
yeah, go ahead.
ploy is to be able to have those things to hold up and tout as, the success of
Right.
this film.
Right.
But
Yeah,
we
I
as
just
kind of
I
move
feel like they
past
don't have
that.
the power they once did.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, I wonder though what it's like in China in terms of, being such a
Mhm.
big market. Maybe the box office is where a lot of it's at. Maybe
Mhm.
streaming isn't the thing there. Most of the
Sure.
Chinese population is not going to have access to streaming services, you know.
That's true.
So in the metropolitan areas, of course, but maybe the theater experience is still a much bigger deal for them. And so if they
True.
lose that initial box office take, they may not recoup it. It'll just
Mhm.
be pirated. Everybody else will see it, will see it pirated, and that's what they get, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was a bit premature to be that worried about the box office to move it to November, especially because now reports coming out of China, and other countries. So I'm not just trusting like Chinese state-run media.
Mhm,
Are that they do now have coronavirus under control. Not that it's not going to be a factor, and not that people shouldn't still take precautions, but they're like figuring out how to treat it. New cases are going down quite
yep,
steadily,
yep,
so I just feel like it was a little premature to worry
sure.
about that so much.
And it's not that on lots of things, they don't release things at different dates in different markets as well.
Mhm.
Like, they could have released
Exactly.
in the US in April, unless they're too worried
Right.
about pirating. That could be the thing, they're too worried about pirating.
Maybe.
But,
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, either way, they're gonna lose. Their talk is like 50 to $60 million, and that marketing budget, Super Bowl ad, all that stuff has gone out the window now.
Yep.
They're gonna have to
Yep.
re-ramp up going into
Yep.
November. So,
Yeah, we'll see if the gamble is worth it.
yep.
And we'll see what kind of box office numbers they get. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like that was a little
So
premature.
In other coronavirus news,
Yes. Yeah, obviously this is I think going to be a big thing, but it's not as big as if it were right before Christmas per se. Um there were a lot of Baby Yoda, or if you're a stickler, the child, not Baby Yoda. There are a lot of toys promised out of a lot of different venues that are now being delayed because the parts that are needed to build these toys are manufactured in China. Obviously, either can't be built because many workers are currently staying at home
mhm,
or under quarantine because of coronavirus, or can't be shipped out of China because they're worried that even if seemingly well people manufactured the parts for these toys, that they still would have coronavirus, so they're just too nervous and nothing's being shipped out of China. So there were a lot of pre-orders during, I think, the Christmas season, for like plush toys or like little figurines or action figure kind of
mhm,
things, and those are all now being back ordered because
yep.
everything was made in China. So
Well, just another example of the poor choice to not have that
mhm.
merchandise ready to go.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
I do
never.
respect them trying to keep it secret. That's fine,
Yep,
but I don't know, I feel like they could have done something else. I know a lot of the leaks always they come from Chinese manufacturers. It happens in the
right.
tech industry all the time. Chinese suppliers, it gets out in one way or another. Oh, this company ordered this many of this chipset. Well, that's clearly for
Yep,
this thing, so we're gonna know that this is coming out then or whatever. So I
right.
get that, but it is a
But yeah.
shame, and they lost a lot of money over the holidays not
Yep.
having Baby Yodes ready for launch. So
Absolutely.
I don't think
Yeah.
people would have bought Baby Yoda merchandise less had some people been spoiled about its existence online prior to the launch of the show.
Mhm. Yes.
So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
just another unfortunate money loss situation.
yep. And there's lots of other things that are going along with this. In the game community, they're talking about there's some games that have been delayed. They're talking about a
Mhm.
PS5 and the Xbox
Yes.
One
Yep.
X being delayed. So
Yep.
we'll see. I don't know. Um, it's when you get everything from China,
Yeah.
then you're pretty dependent. So,
Yep. It's a risk you take.
yep. Um, I don't have a good transition from let's see. Well, the coronavirus is bad, and in Castlevania, they're dealing with a
Ooh.
scourge of their own, namely like the night creatures.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
so in news, Castlevania season 3 just started
Yes.
on Netflix.
Yes. Mhm.
And I believe you have not watched any Castlevania, right?
But I have.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right.
Dun dun dun, surprise.
Okay.
So I watched season 1 because 4 episodes, who can't fly through that?
Sure.
And then I'm about halfway through season 2 right now.
Oh wow. Okay. Nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. Dracula's always been like one of my favorite stories. It's
Mm,
one of the first books that I read
okay.
as an undergrad. Um, so I love the story of Dracula, and this was a fun little take on Dracula's legend. I love all the characterization. I love the central problem, like the fact that like Dracula's declared war on humanity because
Yeah.
they've killed his wife as a witch. So I love it. I love it. It's so much fun. And I think all the voice actors are great. I think they're perfectly cast for who they are. Um, so being through the fourth episode of season 2, I just watched Godbrand die. For
Spoilers.
his
Spoilers.
sorry. I felt like
Uh,
season 2, like it's
uh
been out for a while. I didn't say anything from season 3 at least, but sorry anybody who was spoiled by that. I'm the worst.
Um,
Um, yeah, so I've been having fun with it, and I really love the fact that, Dracula's army, or his generals, I should say, for his army
mhm,
are, like, famous vampire characters in literature throughout different cultures.
sure.
Um, so, like, I've read, the story of Carmilla, for example, is a Victorian
Okay,
vampire story that I'm quite familiar with.
okay,
Um,
nice.
so, like, that was kind of fun, or, like, Godbrand's, like, Celtic character was kind of fun to, like, connect to that, like,
Yeah,
vampiric lore of that culture.
mhm,
So that's kind of a fun nod to
yep.
different vampire stories.
This is a show that really cares. Like,
Mhm.
they care about, like, it's clearly a passion thing for them, and I think that's why this is
Mhm.
it's so cool. They got, like you say, 4 episodes or whatever for season 1, and then they got the green
Yep.
light for more, and it's
Yes.
one of those things that is far enough, it's far enough removed from, if it's far enough removed from the games. Like, it is its own thing, but
Mhm.
it lovingly cares for the games and the source. And like you
Mhm.
say, the story is not this. It's not cookie cutter. Characters aren't cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Paying
Mhm.
tribute to other vampires in literature is awesome.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
got some very well animated moments. And yeah, the
Yes.
voice acting in a lot of it is great. Gaius Baltar in there is
Yes.
awesome. Um,
Yes.
and I forget his name, but I just saw who he was that plays Dracula. And there's some
Oh,
moments.
Graham McTavish.
What's that?
Graham
Oh
McTavish.
yeah, yeah. And there's some
Mhm.
moments in there that are just really awesome. Like, I always kind of wanted to watch the season one in one sitting, really loud,
Mhm.
like his moments of rage. I I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah, I
glad.
quite enjoyed it, and, it's I think a great indictment of, like, the rampant, burn yeah, uh, James
James Callis.
Callis James
He's
Callis is
guy
Alucard,
Yeah, he means Gaius Baltar
and
from
Gaius
Battlestar.
Baltar. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, gotcha. Um, so, yeah, so I thought it was a great indictment of, like, the sort of, um, power abuses of the church back in, like, this Middle Ages kind of time where,
Yeah,
men just sort of believed, like, I
yeah,
am part of the church, so I therefore must be doing God's work and therefore don't have to worry about, like, whether my choices or judgments or actions are moral or not because they automatically are.
yep,
So it's a really great, like, maybe you should take a second look at yourself and, like,
yeah.
actually reflect on your choices. So
It's
it's just a fun new way to look at that as well,
it
and
has
a
some
broader commentary.
yeah, it has some, like, anti-religion, at least established religion sentiment
Mhm,
behind it for sure. It's I think it does well to showcase animation that is
mhm,
not, like, directly out of Japan, that is for a wider audience than children, or a
mhm.
comedy for children.
I
I think
agree.
that it's just one of those things where it clearly is not, it's not trying too hard to be adult, that it seems weird, and it's
Mhm.
not under uh it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not talking down to their audience, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
Yep.
and
Yeah, not
so
underplaying it. It's not yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I really like it. It's been really fun so far. So that's been my binge
and
watching obsession lately.
nice. And yeah, I've started season 3 now. I'm not done with it,
Mhm.
but I am so far liking it more than season 2. So
Oh, okay. Good to
I'll leave
know.
it there. I'll leave it there
Something
and see.
something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yep. Mhm. More fantasy things, Altered Carbon. We talked about
Yes.
that a bunch the other week.
Yes.
Um Did you start season 3?
2?
2? Yeah, 2?
I was gonna say, there's a season 3,
Oh my
what?
god, I'm so yeah,
Breaking news!
yeah.
Ah! Um, no, yes, I finished season 1, and I'm about 3 episodes in on season 3.
Okay.
So, I've got some thoughts on the 2nd season, good and bad. But how far are you on the 2nd season? Have you finished or
No, I'm like 4, I think 4 or
Oh,
5
okay.
episodes in.
Okay, so
Um,
not too far ahead of me then.
yeah. I still
But
think
farther in the season because this is only 8 episodes as opposed to 10, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts comparison season 1 to 2 so far?
Um, so I'm having a hard time with our lead character switch. I'm having a
Mhm.
hard time with Anthony Mackie. And
Okay.
I figured out what my problem is because I started the season and I wasn't sure whether or not I liked him, and I wasn't sure if it was like his character portrayal, if it was the arc of the storyline,
Mhm.
because I wasn't really. Yeah, I don't know if this needs to be like spoiler alerted. Maybe. Maybe this might be a good time actually, because I
Okay.
don't know how many people might
Waving
feel that they're
hands. Spoiler alert.
ah,
Spoiler is there. It's not
caution.
okay.
Caution. Um so I wasn't really sure that I was in love with the whole Kelchrist Falconer amnesia
Okay.
thing that was happening where she was like, I don't remember talk. Now I do remember you, but I don't remember other things. So I wasn't sure like what exactly my problem was. And I think it's currently a combination of things. And I think part of it is I've never quite been a fan of Anthony Mackie's.
Okay.
Um, like I just say like he was fine as Falcon in the Captain America movie
Mhm.
trilogy. But he just like wasn't my favorite part of it. And I think part of what my problem with him is not him as a character or as an actor, but it's the voiceovers. I felt like Joel Kinnaman
Mm.
had such a great gravitas when he was
Yeah.
doing those voiceovers.
Mhm.
He just had this like deep gritty sound that I was just like really in love with. And Anthony Mackie doesn't have that.
Sure.
So the voiceovers in particular, I think are something that's a little shaky for me this season. And it's hard because you really do have to pay attention to them because they're trying to convey like some, kind of deep reveal or deep thoughts about like what's
Mhm.
happening in the show. But I feel like as the episodes have gone on, I like Anthony Mackie's portrayal better.
Okay.
Um, when he's just like, being Takeshi, that's totally fine with me. Like I said, I think it's just the voiceovers that are my issue with him.
Okay.
But I also still am not loving this whole like how Chris Falconer like doesn't remember her past,
Sure.
like is
It's pretty
confused. I sort of
normal
remember
for like
you.
stereotypical kind of
Yeah, I feel like I've seen this before and I'm just not impressed with it right now.
Mhm.
So,
So how many episodes you say you've seen?
3.
3? Okay. So, yeah,
3,
probably only
yes.
one more in. Yeah, I've gotten, like, into it more
Okay.
from the first episode, and I've been, enjoying it more. I still
Mhm.
feel like I'm watching a television show, whereas I remember with the first season, not feeling that way, like, being blown away by the production,
Yes.
blown away by the characters and kinda their depth, and in this
Yeah.
one, feeling a little more like this could be on, whatever network show, and though I'm enjoying it moments to moment, I don't know if it's the acting or if it's the cinematography. Maybe it's in my head. It
Mhm.
doesn't look as good. It's not as
No, I
beautiful.
I agree with you. I really do.
The
Yeah, the
first
colors
one
are
really
less
hit.
vivid or,
Yeah.
there's something that's less.
And I looked up the cinematographers, and it is different from the last season to
Mhm.
this one. It's a person that didn't work on the first season in that capacity,
Okay.
anyways. Um, and yeah, I don't know. It feels flatter. I remember,
Mhm.
watching
I
this in
agree.
4K HDR. Oh my god, I just lost my battery. But you can still hear me,
Speaking
right? So,
speaking of yes, speaking of cinematography, that
yeah.
was probably a very apt moment for your battery to go out.
Yeah. Okay, well, I will finish my thoughts here and then
Sure,
let you introduce the next thing and I'll switch batteries. I'm fully charged.
sure.
But yeah, I'm not as impressed. It's
Yeah,
growing on me. Um, and I'm having fun with it, but
mhm.
it's not been the same experience so far for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's very apt, I think, phrasing. It's growing on me. It really, it felt difficult to watch for a while, um, because I was so not invested in like the main character and um, in in the storyline that was happening. But there were moments, there were elements that would like draw me in, like the main villain. For so far, Colonel Carrera, it seems, is a new character who's going to be our sort of main antagonist. He's been an interesting character, I think, and I think elements of it, like bringing Poe back, was a great choice because it's a feeling and a character of familiarity, bringing us back to the Raven Hotel. In season one, sort of calling on that nostalgia has been a good idea, but um and that sort of blend of nostalgia with newer elements, like I loved the whole circle um for Takeshi's like potential execution, where there's this showy theatrical element, plays to the kind of showy theatrical person in myself. So yeah. So there have been elements that I've enjoyed, but yeah, it's I think been a tougher sell this season on the whole.
Yep. Yep.
So
And the break was hard, but you went right from 1 to 2. So it's not in my
yeah.
head
Mhm.
because I thought
Yeah,
maybe it
no,
was the
no.
break in
No, I
between
don't
that
I don't think
was
so.
okay.
'Cause yeah, I mean, I went immediately right from 1 to 2.
Yep.
I'd watched through, like, 8 and 9, and then took, like, a day, and then watched the finale, and then went right into season 2, like, the
Okay.
first episode, and I was just yeah, it was far different, I think.
Yep. Okay. All right. This is our final topic. The final topic. Our
Ah,
producer's like, we're going a bit over time. I don't know what it's been, but
right?
we got we were gonna talk about this last week, I think, right?
Yes,
And then
yes.
but you've seen it now and we're back to
Yep.
Ryan Johnson with Knives Out.
Oh, yes, yes, I have now seen Knives Out. Oh,
Having some glitches or something.
yep, yep, I just had, like, a little camera glitch. Hold up.
Mm,
Or I can still hear you, so that's fine.
okay. Yeah, you're looking normal for me.
Okay.
Um
Good.
so do we want to keep the spoiler banner up for this or we want to take it down? Oh, we want to have this conversation go.
I feel like we could take it down. I mean, at this
Okay.
point, it's been quite a while. It's been what, since Thanksgiving? That's a solid, 5, 6 months.
Okay. I'll try to keep it not like cuz it's a mystery, so I will keep it relatively spoiler free. That's
Okay.
all. I mean, I think our thoughts can work
Yeah,
work
without being
around.
explicit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what do you think?
I really liked it. It was a very fun movie. Um, and I thought an excellently written one. Um, there was, I think we both agreed kind of in our synopses, there was enough that there were some elements that you could guess in the movie, but there was enough to still be surprising. And that's kind of, I feel like, how I like my mysteries. Um,
Yep.
like enough that I can guess something and maybe feel smart about it, but then, I still want some surprises too.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's really important to a mystery, you need to shock people.
mm,
But if you don't see anything coming, then it's like, well, you ruin the fun. It feels cheap doesn't feel earned,
Yes,
that, the
yeah,
shock doesn't feel earned when you can't figure anything out.
exactly.
So yeah, I agree.
Yes.
That's a great balance. It was a lot of fun. The cast
Mhm.
was a lot of fun to watch. It's a big
Fabulous
name
cast.
cast. So if
Mhm.
there's an ensemble cast award, they get it, I think.
Yeah.
Um, I was a big fan.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
they
I
all
like
played
Daniel
well off
Craig.
each other.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It seemed like they were having fun together. I don't know if they were, but it seemed like
Mhm.
it. Um,
Mhm.
and being a Daniel Craig fan, I was happy to see his performance, his southern accent and such. So,
I did love that call out of, his accent as a Foghorn Leghorn. That was a great, like,
oh,
fourth wall
yeah,
call out. It was
yeah,
so funny
yeah.
because it was, like, overdone, but in a, like, it works way.
I
It
say,
wasn't
I
too
say, I
distracting.
say. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think yeah,
It
thought it
was
was
pretty
hilarious too.
intense, but yeah, no, it somehow worked for the character, so it was like, okay, but it was very funny to also then, like, call out, be like, "Okay,
Yeah,
Colonel
yeah. It
Sanders,
was.
like, take it easy."
uh, yeah. I mean, I had marked colorful characters, but very stereotypical,
Mhm,
but intentionally
mhm.
so, it seems. Like they're
Yeah,
playing to different types and, like, I don't know, that was tongue in cheek or whatever, but you can see people, all different people in the characters. They cover a variety, but they're also
mhm,
like cookie cutter versions of a lot of those things. They're definitely like
mhm,
there's a stereotypical this kid and a stereotypical that kid. And
mhm.
I didn't have a problem with it
Yeah.
in a way. I just noticed it as a
Well, I think it makes an interesting point that I'm only just thinking of now, actually. Um, you know, so the family are all very stereotypical characters in a
Mhm,
different way. So, you
mhm.
have like this sort of like new age, like I have a skincare blog and, I make makeup and, I'm a practicing yogi and,
Yep.
I'm all about like empowerment. And then you have like this sort of like right wing, like, like almost Nazi ish, if I can say that, child, and then you have like this sort of like very progressive college student who's, like, oh, I care about the world and I care about other people. And, I'm in my like experimental sort of phase. And then like these really driven business people. And you have like a drunken sot of a son who's, trying only to live up to his father. So you have all these like very like ingrained, very easily identifiable stereotypes of characters.
Mhm.
And then in the end, they all sort of boil down to the same thing, that when this inheritance is being given out, they only care about themselves and they're only
Yep.
generous to a point, and then they just like care about them. So
Yep.
it's a very interesting commentary about like you can seem to be these very different people on the surface, and you can be seen very stereotypically, and then in the end when it boils down to, you know do or die time, all you care about is you.
Yep.
So it was a very
Or
interesting commentary, I think, on like the nature of being concerned with the self, even if the self's outward shell appears differently.
Yep. And it could be broadened even to like
Mhm.
not necessarily that everybody ends up caring about themselves, but just that how we're all so the same, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
ultimately. So for good
Exactly.
and bad. And
Yeah, yeah, this is a lens where like you're all the same in the idea of like caring about what happens to you, but yes,
mhm,
broadly, like what you said, you may appear very different and yet
mhm,
boil down to some of the same concerns or the same
yep.
things.
And I don't know. I think that maybe the stereotype helped keep things light
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I mean the characters they were one of those things where you can kind of see someone or someone heard of or what someone in the public
Mhm.
sphere that's each and every one of these people. Um,
Yeah.
but it's not scary because it's not too realistic, you know. It's
Yep.
they're not nuanced characters in a way, you know?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I appreciated it. I thought it was music was well done. You know, mysteries
Mhm.
are hard, you know,
They are.
and to pull it off well, I thought that was
Yeah, I think,
impressive.
yeah, I think we like mysteries, but they're incredibly hard to do,
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
know? Like,
Yeah.
they're always such, like, big hits, and I feel like that's such a big thing right now, like, on TV is, like, making television shows that are mysteries out of, like, books and books that are mysteries,
Hmm.
but they're hard to pull off.
Yep.
So I thought this did that really, really well. There's only one element that I thought was incredibly unbelievable, and maybe
Okay.
this might need a spoiler.
Okay.
So if Alan
Spoilers,
throws that out.
spoilers, hand warnings.
Spoiler.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, so the only thing that I thought was a little bit unbelievable was actually the thing that tipped Daniel Craig's character off, that Anna de Armas was involved in the murder, and that was the blood splatter on her shoe.
Uh-huh.
Um, so like she obviously they shoot it where she goes in the room when Christopher Plummer is about to unfortunately kill himself. And he pulls the knife across his throat, and somehow like he does it in such a manner that's so violent that like the blood spatter gets all the way from the couch all the way across the room to where she's standing in the doorway, and immediately closes the door as he's even pulling the knife across his throat, and somehow the blood spatter gets on her shoe.
Hmm.
And I was a little like, oh, I don't quite believe that that happened. I mean, I get that like you need something, and you
Sure.
needed this, trigger and flag for Daniel Craig. But yeah, that was just like the one part that I was like,
Okay.
I don't know that that
Sure.
could have happened.
Well, and
So,
even I mean, the method. So originally, when I thought, okay, wow, slitting your own throat, that seems pretty
mhm,
unlikely, you know. Um,
yeah,
and then I thought, well, okay, he was severely drugged up, but he wasn't.
right, right,
So, I mean, I
yeah,
thought under some sort of in crazy influence, yeah, I mean, people eat their
right,
hand, you know, or whatever, you know,
right,
all
totally,
kinds of crazy things. So, okay, I saw that, but then,
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty hardcore. So,
Yeah, I thought so too. And it was a weird thing because I remember thinking throughout the movie, like in these flashbacks to Christopher Plummer, like, shouldn't he be getting a little more crazy at this point? Like, why aren't I
mm,
seeing any of the side effects of all that morphine yet? Like, he
mhm,
seems so crystal clear. And maybe
yep,
that was like a clue, but it was also like, I don't know, like, when if he was still that clear, couldn't you have just, like, sat down and thought it through and been like, "Man, it's been,
mm.
like, 10 minutes and I'm not feeling any effects of anything," or, you know,
Well,
I
that's
don't
where it's sort of um, where they keep it is light and not too
Mm,
realistic. 'Cause
right.
they have, this character that's clearly designed to be he's very eccentric, millionaire, creative guy, and
Mhm.
so that's his thing. He's ready to go out with a bang, you know? He's gonna
Yeah.
go out with pizzazz and the way he wants, and so he's gonna go this very over the top thing. No one in the real world would be like, "Okay, now listen, I'm worried about you being deported,
Right.
and I'm gonna go out in a creative way. So do this, this, and this in this order. I've thought of it right now. You're gonna and
Right.
execute this plan." That's not gonna happen. But
Right.
being the whole thing kind of had the vibe of like over the top sort of fun murder mystery party sort of thing.
Mhm.
I let some of those things go, I think.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think overall they don't detract from the movie, in
Hmm.
a major way. There were just kind of little things that I was like, "Oh, okay, that's not quite like perfectly fitting in there."
Yep.
Um, so I just kind of took note of them. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a fun ride.
So they're supposedly making a sequel. Have you heard that?
Oh,
Um,
I did not know that. What?
s-
Who is
it'd
it
be with Daniel
supposed to
Craig.
be?
So I
Oh, okay, all
presumably
right.
a whole new
A
mystery, and
new.
then Daniel
Okay,
Craig. Yeah, that would
great.
be. Um,
I'd be all
I
for that.
kind,
Yeah, I
you
don't. I don't want to. tie back to the first movie. Like I think that story's finished. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I feel chapter closed. But
Yep.
I could be down for Daniel Craig's character again.
Yeah. It's one of those things where sometimes maybe just leave it. It's risky doing another
Mhm.
one, but
Yeah.
I'll give it a try. So
Mhm.
we can probably take the spoilers down now, I think.
Yeah.
So Alan says 90-minute record time. Yay. Well, look,
Woo!
I mean, no
So
one's
much to
listening to this
say.
thing anyways, hardly. So thank you if you are. But you can listen to it in pieces. That's perfectly fine.
Yes.
That's fine with us. Or if you're bored with a certain section, skip over it. And then,
Right?
that's
Yeah.
fine too.
We cover a lot of different things.
So, in um um I'm just reading your other few notes
Oh, sure, sure.
on Knives Out. Make sure you said everything we wanted to say here. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
um,
like the only other thing that I felt a little bummed out about in this movie, and I think it's because I was approaching it too realistically
mhm.
in the moment, um was the fact that Christopher Plummer leaves all his fortune and
Oh,
inheritance.
spoilers.
Ah, god damn it.
Okay,
Oh,
so we
I'm
okay to the
sorry.
person he leaves his stuff
Yes,
to.
I didn't say
I
it.
know, I
I
know,
didn't
you
say
didn't
the
say it.
name yet.
So the person that he leaves his money to stuff. What about him?
Okay, so it wasn't his oldest daughter,
Hmm.
Jamie Lee Curtis's character.
Yeah.
And I was like a little bit bummed out about that because I felt like she was so smart and so capable and just like this like crazy intelligent
Hmm.
businesswoman who actually did go out and like she did say build her empire out of nothing.
Hmm.
And I was like why would you take that,
But
away from her?
see,
Why wouldn't you like give her that signal of like I approve of you and like
yeah,
good job girl? Like
because
I don't know. I was just a little bummed about it.
I think he feels that they're really kind of all rotten at the core.
Yeah. I
Like they
mean,
all are.
but
They've all. I mean,
how was she though? Like I just didn't feel that the same way from
she
her. I felt it
was
about basically
callous.
everybody else.
She was
She
callous. She didn't do anything overtly terrible, but she did
no.
like, oh, my brother, he didn't build anything. Haha, he didn't build anything. Like, what a worthless sack. Whereas like, look, your brother's taking over. That's a very important part of the business. Yeah, and then that was the point. Like, oh yeah, you've built something from the ground up with $1 million loan from dad.
Yeah.
So like, I mean,
Yeah.
it
I mean,
it
I got that part, but like she just I don't know. I just felt like
to
she was so smart that it was just like, I
to
wanted
me,
something better for you."
none of them were bad. One of them
They were just not
was,
good.
yeah, they just were. They just were. It was a showcasing for the toxicity of greed.
Yeah.
That they've all, in one way or another, or most of them, made something of themselves in their life,
Mhm.
and they're doing well.
Mhm.
They're definitely not perfect. They're people. They all have their flaws. Um,
Mhm.
but greed is so can be so poisonous that you get
Yeah.
people that are inherently like the one. She seems pretty nice and pretty good, but then she steals money because she
Oh,
gets,
yeah.
you know and another
Yep.
character, he is seemingly a good guy, but he can't keep his penis in his pants. Like it's just it's you get,
Yep.
and whether that's from being cocky with what you have or whatever it is, like they're definitely all flawed. And I think he just realized that none of them really loved him for who he
Mhm.
was necessarily. They got so used to seeing him for his money for so long.
Sure.
And you see that come out when
Mhm.
he's no longer there. So
Yeah.
he was right. Like even if they were great and built something. I mean, look, again, it's one of those things, not realistic. This guy wouldn't
Yeah.
be doing this. In all
Right,
likelihood, that's
right.
not the way this would go down, you know?
Right. Yeah, and I feel like that was part of it. I had to like take myself out of like this is a realistic situation and
Mhm.
like, walk
It's
that thought process back. But yeah.
it's a fun extreme situation to showcase,
Mhm.
some of the awful sides of humanity, you know?
Yes. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
but
Yeah, thumbs up. Definitely would
yeah,
recommend.
yep. Um, so the last thing, we didn't talk about it right at the beginning. I forgot, whatever. What have you
Oh.
been drinking? We had,
uh
yeah.
yes. Yes, after our um shared cocktail last week. So yeah, so what did I say? March 3rd this week. It was a big day if you're a drinker. Um it was quite a few different drinking holidays. It was National Irish Whiskey Day, Mulled Wine Day, and Moscow Mule Day. So, if you can guess what's in my copper mug
Oh
out of
no,
those
what's in the copper
3,
mug? Mulled wine, clearly,
Moscow
right?
Mule.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I hope mulled wine tastes
Yeah.
delicious. Yes, so I'm drinking a Moscow Mule today.
Okay. Cool.
And, you were telling me before the show a little bit that you created a cocktail concoction.
Yeah,
So what are
it's all
you
right.
drinking?
So, you found that on March 5th is National Absinthe Day, which is interesting.
Yes.
So I'm at 120 proof. This
Ooh.
there, focus. So this is from Jake Carver. Great,
Okay.
great distillery. They do a lot of fun stuff. This
Mhm.
is a absinthe verde, so it's green absinthe. I
Alright.
hadn't heard of it. I don't know anything about it. I found a liquor store today. They didn't know knew too much about it either. It is potent, but
Been taking careful sips throughout the show.
yeah, no, I've not been taking pull on the show or anything like that. And I've finished my drink, but I made a cocktail out of it. So I did
Sure.
sort of, my thought process was, all right, I'll do some sort of Sazerac, but then I didn't really want just like a sipping cocktail. So
Mhm.
I made a Collins version,
Okay.
and just had club soda, this in there, and it's all right, not too bad. I didn't have rye though, so it's not very Sazerac-y at all. Um, but it was enjoyable enough, and I had some absinthe stuff in it, so to celebrate.
Well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Mm.
All right. Well, that's a long, we're just gonna
Yes.
maybe that's our theme. Every week we challenge ourselves to go longer. How's that sound, Alan? I want to keep
I'm sure he's so excited.
so thrilled. Yeah. Um, okay, well, thanks for joining us. We'll
Yes,
be back next week, and for
absolutely.
more. I'm sure more will great, exciting news things will pop up.
Mhm.
Let us know what you've liked or not liked in the comments, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook,
Facebook.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Twitch, YouTube. Follow us
yep.
anywhere and everywhere.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Cheers.
All right.